Yo, I'm Alex. I do a podcast sometimes. It's called Three Minds. It's pretty okay, pretty cool. I also do a lot of other stuff because I'm a student. So, yeah, that's like a lot of the stuff I do. I play a Tiefling named Rembrandt, who's an artificer, and he very much so enjoys making things and does not enjoy the sheer havoc that goes on around him 24/7 because of these crazy little mongrels. So speaking of crazy little mongrels, Colton, hello.
Hi, I play Clack. He's a goblin barbarian. It's a lot of fun. He's been kind of harder for me to play so far. Getting into a groove, though, last week was really fun. And I started setting up my own kind of Discord to do some one-shots and some D&D stuff. And I've been kind of enjoying building that up and building that community up and stuff. And right now I've been playing a game with Rembrandt on Sundays. It's very private.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
He tries to kill us. He puts CR5 fire elementals after level 5 characters.
They were not CR5 on any way, shape, or form. Give me a break.
He started killing people.
I have their dice, and I gave them an eighth of their hit points. Not even close to CR5. That was a medium encounter max. Don't even. Now, if I actually applied the catching fire thing every single turn, then y'all would have been screwed. Anyway, Eric.
Thanks. Hey guys, my name's Eric. I am playing the Warforged Druid B.O.S.E. I actually have something. Sundays, I will be departing. Oh, I can't even talk today. Jeez, this is gonna be a good one. I'm on another stream of Sean's Relics of War, or technically, Relics of War, War Stories is what I think we officially called it. So please check us out at Sunday nights at 9 p.m. I believe. But that's pretty much all I have going on in my life right now. So I'm gonna send it off to the stream.
Oh my gosh, Spicy Shih Tzu!
Thank you.
The tier 1 sub.
Yes.
A tier 1 sub, Spicy. You just made literally the first person to sub since we got pop-ups. Literally, you just made our night. We were like talking about
first alert.
Yeah, first alert, first official non-test alert by Spicy, rocking the house.
That feels so good.
Enjoy what I believe is the ad-free viewing, our emotes if we ever get any, and that founder badge, that spicy founder badge that you can only get.
There we go. So we have a temporary 4-person screen with the proper background. We had to do some quick changing on the fly here, folks. Due to the craziness, we're having poor Kitty-Doe is having some serious tech issues. She was in here over a half hour early, and her computer's overheating, and we're kind of trying to lift up everything that's going on in poor Kitty-Doe's life because she's a content creator, works not just for this stream, but you got to remember she does all her video broadcasting and everything else, her anime, or I'm sorry, I'm using all the wrong terms because I'm a little fried right now. All her drawings, animation, thank you. Because
Spicy's calling you out.
With my eyebrow.
Yeah.
My sister can do it better. She can roll this one and then get it up, and then roll all the way through.
That's impressive.
I'm trying to get better at it, but I don't know.
That's a lot of eyebrow control.
I don't know why I choose this time to do it.
Impressive eyebrows gang.
Wow. Yes.
I'm not part of that gang. Yeah, see, I can't do all that.
We were watching.
I can barely do like surprise faces.
My 11.
That's
maybe this makes me a bad person. My 11-year-old was watching The Shining. Is that a bad sentence?
No. It's a great movie.
It is a great movie.
They need to understand that.
Watched like The Grudge and The Ring when I was like
on,
7 or 8, so The Shining is not as bad.
I feel like that.
Woo! Spook Nasty, thanks for that follow. Really appreciate it. You can't see me, but my face is all glowing, and I'm happy because you know what? We love all our plotters. Thanks for joining the Plot Point family. Go ahead and make all the plots, shape the thing, twist it. When we our next thing we're going to be doing is changing the points at the bottom of the screen that you guys can earn by watching and doing stuff, so that you can influence the plot even more. You're going to be able to help save our players from their nasty, evil dungeon master, and hopefully save their lives a little bit. But the reality is, you don't have to save them from me. You have to save them from themselves, because these are the same people that destroy, that kill quest givers, that go down into the darkness, destroy magical ships, that raise up the
party
Demogorgon.
members.
Oh wait, that was the fish people.
Kind of hoping for a Nickelodeon slime time. Please, please no oozes. Please no oozes. That would be awful.
Speaking of oozes, there's a whole lot of slimy stuff on B.O.S.E right now, as he's been surrounded by all these little fish people. One of which, right, he knows and is familiar to him, and they just seem to really know him. And how do we know that as viewers? Because they've been chanting this whole time, B.O.S.E, 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 and them getting really excited when he finally showed up in person. Now, this B.O.S.E, the little B.O.S.E, was riding big B.O.S.E shoulders. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch last session, because the entire group here was surprised when a massive 60-foot tall B.O.S.E came out of the water to remove and take out Durgar and whatnot. And it even, at gentle little B.O.S.'s recommendation, started going after the ship where it thought the Durgar were coming from, wiping out this beautiful black ship which had no reason in the world to be down 1,000 feet under the ground into the Underdark Lake. They took out the ship, they squashed Durgar, and they were like, this is great. And then they saw these, it started with 2, then it was 4 yellow eyes in the distance, coming closer and closer and getting bigger and bigger, until now that the party had come onto the shore and was surrounded by these Kuo-Toa fish people, they saw Demogorgon coming ashore. Its massiveness, its 2 heads reigning near the ceiling, and this bellowing voice as it starts making its way towards the ship, remnants, towards the dock, remnants, towards the scattered dead people, remnants of this battle between big B.O.S.E and the ship, and literally shadows that were attacking big B.O.S E. There's chaos in the Underdark. And amidst that chaos, we have our plot point players, their PCs, huddled with these fish folk amidst these ramshackle huts that the fish folk use. I would like to open it up, possibly starting with, any of the players may take it, but big B.O.S E, or little B.O.S E, little B.O.S E. Little B.O.S E is now big B.O.S E, there is no big B.O.S E. But with B.O.S E, surrounded by these fish people who are loving upon him, whose lidless eyes see in the distance Demogorgon coming, and they kind of blink at him, and their little fins start to flutter as they touch him, and they're like, boys, 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 because out there, the usual leaders that B.O.S E is used to, and he saw this problem before, had been chanting Limo-Gugun, 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 and just chanting together, and now Limo-Gugun is coming. Demogorgon is coming ashore. B.O.S E, take it away.
Right. Clearly, this is not good. So, B.O.S.E is...
We need to exit this area now. We are not in a safe place.
Is the one Kuo-Toa like that I know, like right there in my presence? Can I actually like speak to them or speak to it?
If you are referring to the one that you knew last time that you were here, absolutely. She's right up close to you. You remember her name as Pluplupian. And Pluplupian, who just really fell in love with you. In fact, you had blessed her, and she's still wearing one of your tentacles that had gotten cut off when you were being attacked by the Durgar. And in fact, now that you look around, you see that her hut, which is where you're at, has many types of these little bits of tentacles strewn up, and there's little rock piles that weren't here last time all around her doors, that people have been bringing sacred little bits of rock to her hut.
That's intriguing. Wonderful. This
nice.
is stalker vibes here. That's fine. Okay.
Your perception is high enough that you realize some of these fish people and their little fish hands have I say fish hands because it's part fin that they have, and these little tiny fingers are literally holding out to you tiny little bits of broken rock, because they've all seen you when you integrated stone before, massive stones, and basically they're offering you little bits of the shattered stone from when you used your strength previously here.
Okay. Wonderful. I don't have enough time to absorb all that.
You couldn't, anyways. They're too small. These are shattered.
Yeah, they're like little. I wanted to flatter them a little bit, but okay. B.O.S.E is going to, let's see. After they gesture that with the rocks and stuff, B.O.S.E is going to say,
There's no time for this. Thank you, but no time. We must leave.
and B.O.S.E gestures in the opposite direction of where this Demogorgon is coming from, insinuating, if you cannot understand what I'm saying, over there, run.
Sweet. You've learned a little bit of the Kuo-Toa language, enough to kind of pigeonhole it, pigeonfish. You know pigeonfish. It's kind of a mixture of regular language. They do speak a lot of undercommon.
Okay.
But you can make yourself known well enough through vines and tendrils. You've created this pigeon speak, pigeonfish. And where you're actually motioning to, anywhere away from the lake, is getting towards the cavern walls, because you're in this gigantic dome on the shore of this lake. And Demogorgon's coming out of the lake towards you. I probably should do this the other way. So here's the lake. I'm looking at my hands. Demogorgon's coming ashore, and then you'll be going back towards the edge of the wall here. Where you do know there are tunnels and other things, because it was up those tunnels, down them probably a mile or so away when you first met Clack down here.
Right. So then B.O.S.E, knowing that there are tunnels, seems like the perfect idea. Because, you know, right now, where can that Demogorgon not fit? In probably the tunnels. So that's the escape plan for now, at least on B.O.S.E's mind.
Now, the rest of the party, I had said, had finally gathered with you. What are the rest of the party's reactions as you watch these fish people who are really just in love with B.O.S.E and paying attention to him more than the rest of you? Oh, and by the way, Nerida, I should point out, the fish people collect lots of things from the shore, so there's all sorts of hodgepodge little bits, not just wicker baskets. These aren't just fisher people, but they collect things, so if ever there was a time to loot, you could like try and go on a looting rampage here and see what they found from other stuff.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be great any other time.
Oh, temptation
Not right
thwarted.
now. Temptation thwarted. I'm gonna just yes. We should go. We should. Where? Goes where? Which way? Which direction? That way. That way. Okay, we're going that way.
Yes, we need to go
Start
that
going
way.
that. Okay, I start going that way.
B.O.S.E, don't take us to the mushrooms. That's all I care about. Let's get back, but no mushrooms.
Mushrooms or that?
As he points to the Demogorgon.
Yeah. Rembrandt will sort of be like trying to like push through Kuo-Toa. Excuse me, sorry, pardon me. Yes, speaking of that, what the hell is that?
We can figure it out later. We need to go. I start dragging Remy by the back of his collar.
Okay, so sorry. So sorry. Oh god, watch out for that basket there. Oh dear. Oh gosh, that's everywhere now. Oh.
Remy, would you make a perception roll for me, please? With advantage.
Hey. Advantage.
I don't think I can actually put that on the screen because I think this one's not set up correctly. I'm gonna try though. Roll 20 rolls. Let's see if
22.
Oh, look at that. That one's actually working. Sweetness. So we do know that one's working for tonight. That'll be nice. Awesome. You roll in, and as Nerida is dragging you away, you realize that over there is one of the cog systems that you have seen when you were first applying to the college in a pile of debris for if you wanted to make something mechanical come to life for a medium-sized creature. Unfortunately, Nerida has no idea about this and whatnot, and she's got you and is dragging you off. I'm going to let you think about your response to all that as the DM, meanly.
But I need it. But I need it.
And I need everything from that ship, okay? I need the ship, but that's where we are.
You're being dragged off, and we're going to say that Huxley's going along with you. Huxley kind of spins around. You need it? Oh, I'm right here for you. And Huxley runs up to embrace you as Nerida's dragging you off. And she just kind of hugs you and helps drag you along with Nerida. It's okay. You're not alone, Huxley tells you.
No, Huxley, I need those mechanical things. Oh, God, please stop squeezing me.
Oh, mechanical things? And Huxley looks around.
No, we're going this way.
What do you guys think? Would Huxley turn around and go back for the things? I'll let the group decide.
Oh no.
Unfortunately.
I never thought of Remy convincing Huxley. Go ahead and make a persuasion roll. I've set a DC this time.
Oh gosh. You won't kill Huxley with Kitty not here, right?
I guarantee nothing. I left it up to you guys.
Ooh, that's rude.
What'd you roll?
18.
18. Yeah, and let's see. Where do you vote? Clack and Eric and Nera.
I don't think Clack's... Okay, so we're at a character that Huxley probably would grab stuff. I don't think it'll grab the mechanical stuff, but Clack's just going right for the tunnel.
I'm actually asking what Huxley... Would Huxley run back?
I think Huxley would grab something, but I don't know that it would be the gears that he wanted or anything.
Eric, would you?
I have to say Huxley probably would.
Yeah, and finally, Stranger, would Huxley go back?
Hey, Huxley, come on! I'm going this way.
I am so not answering that.
The opposite of Narada way is going.
An intimidation roll from Narada.
Narada. Yeah.
Over here.
Get over here.
Yes.
So literally, as Remy starts saying, "But I need those gears," and what Huxley's like, "Oh, you don't need me," and Huxley turns around and runs back as the rest of you run towards the back in the shelter. Many of the fish people are really confused. They're looking to B.O.S.E, who they thought was going to save them, and they're looking at this. In the meantime, the other fish people are still chanting in the distance, Limu Gugun, and you start to see waves coming ashore as it's so big, it's literally taking a still lake and creating waves as it comes to the shore, marching directly towards the lights, directly towards these little chanters who in the distance are still shouting Limu Gugun, but thanks to B.O.S.'s relationship with Pluplupian, you're able to convince most of her followers, these fish people, to go towards the caves, somewhere that they normally do not like to go at all. Because they belong to the water and they get all their things from the water and they summon what they need from the water. Clack, you and the others go along with them. You drag them off. Huxley can be seen in the distance trying to, throw things up. Is it this? And Remy's like, the mechanics. And is it this? And she's holding up all sorts of different things. Is it this piece of armor? And she's back there still until the sound of the Demogorgon is so loud with a roar that bits of things fall from the ceiling and the first crash can be heard. And Narada, the sound of crash of two ships hitting two massive forces in the water, and it's either the docks or the ship as this thing is coming straight to the shore, towards all of you. You can no longer hear the Limu Gugun chanting as Demogorgon comes ashore and starts literally smashing. You guys are huddled in the caves looking out as Demogorgon comes ashore. What is the one thing that stands out to you that you see? Clack. I'm going to ask each of you in turn.
I think I just see the tents and the other things. I'm a small creature, so I'm running kind of between the tents trying to get to this tunnel. So I just see the wall and the direction that B.O.S.E told me to go.
Okay. The most close buildings coming down. What is the one thing that stands out most to you, Alex?
Oh, probably Huxley having this dumb look on his face, holding up the wrong part for my machinery, as stalactites and stalagmites or whatever are just shattering down from the ceiling, or bits of debris are just falling, crashing over, the waves are sloshing up towards Huxley, and Remy's just no, just forget about it, just go Huxley, go. And Huxley's like, what, this? Just frozen like this.
And Eric, what funny thing, what stands out that's you're like, I can't believe my gem-like eyes, or my gems for eyes?
Well, it's not more so the visualization that B.O.S.E is so captivated by, but it's actually the silence of the chanting, because that instantly signaled, that's not a benevolent entity.
And you narrate it. B.O.S.E his face gives away nothing as he just gently appraises the situation. Huxley's out there about to die, and it's coming ashore, and chaos is abounding.
I think the thing that stands out the most to me is the sound of a ship crashing against a ship, wood splintering on wood, and there's just like this 1/4 second pause where narrative regretfully looks towards the ship that was in that water, and just keeps pulling Remy back, and regretfully turns an eye towards Huxley and is shouting and is like, either he's gonna run or the boy's gonna die. That's that. Let's go. We have to go.
You all make it back in there, watching as Demogorgon comes ashore, killing fish people, destroying everything. There are roars, tentacles. At one point, Demogorgon comes back and with its large tentacles tries to reach into the caves to get you all. Unfortunately, the fish people don't want to go deeper into the caves. What would you as a group do?
Man, I think B.O.S.E would at least attempt to like grab a couple of these fish people and bring them closer into like to save them. Especially, I can't pronounce the name of the one that loves me the most. Ploopian. There we go. Ploopian. But he wants to save at least as many as he can possibly carry at the moment, knowing, nature at its finest. Natural selection. Yep.
Remy will look over to B.O.S.E if he can, and B.O.S E, what's the fish people word for go? Or follow?
B.O.S conveys that. Bloop, 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 bloop.
Remy will try his diddly darn best to imitate the bloop, using thaumaturgy to like make his voice a lot boomier and echoing through the like chamber. Which is bloop, but it's like bloop,
I'm gonna do my best to imitate using Aquan, which is dialectally kind of ish similar. It has some of the similar syllables anyway for go, and I'm just gonna be like bloop 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 bloop.
Suddenly there's a sound of
bloop 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 bloop.
All of you get 5 plot points.
There we go.
All of you are doing this. You're making the sounds of crashing waves in Aquan. We're making the sounds of bubbling water. In fact, what Remy didn't notice was that B.O.S.E was also moving some of his tendrils because the fish people use their bodies to communicate as well. And B.O.S.E is over here jiggling as he walks. They're making blooping sound. There's the sound of crashing water. The fish people come along. We're going to say just how many come. We're going to do a group check right now. All of you make a persuasion check, and if at least half of you, 3 or 4 of you pass, I will let you get all of Ploopian's group. If you get less, we'll determine how many fail.
Okay.
Oh, that's not great.
Turn on roll.
Could I use inspiration?
Don't forget, as long as you do it in advance, you have inspiration, yeah.
Right.
23. Is there any like water coming down from the ceilings at all?
There's not, because you're in the cave system now, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I maybe try to lower the DC of this
Nat
by
20.
doing something? Maybe I don't
I
have
haven't
to.
said whether it's hit or not, so I would allow you to alter it if you can.
Okay, I got
Pupper.
I am going to use Create or Destroy Water to create water behind them and form this barrier of water, and I'm going to use Shape Water to like swirl the water around B.O.S.E to make B.O.S.E look even cooler. Like, you gotta follow this. This is your deity, blah, 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 blah.
Nice.
I got a nat 20 on my second roll for a total of 19.
What? Clack isn't persuasive.
I got a 23. Mine's a
Very
23.
nice.
And I lose my inspiration.
Yeah. What is going on with Huxley? Because that's still very concerning.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Please don't die, Huxley.
Oh, Huxley.
If this is still the same day that we did the chair yeeting thing, he still prayed to his god, so he's good.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not saying Remy's trying to kill Huxley, but Remy's doing a lot of actions that put Huxley in grave danger.
Thank you, Popper, for the subscription.
Ooh. Oh. Yeah.
Woo! Thank you.
Another one.
Bloop, bloop.
Bloop, bloop. Oh gosh.
Subscribers!
Please no. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Couldn't do this without you. Oh my god.
You're a level 1 Kuo-Toa. Welcome to the game.
Sean, did you mute yourself for a minute there?
All right, so yes, I owe it to you all. I had myself on mute while I was typing, so I was doing
The sub for the blue fish.
Here we go.
It's the fish people sub.
That's so funny.
Oh god. So you have all the fish people. The only one to fail the check was Remy, who also likes to sabotage the party, which means, and then again, that means that the majority was 2 out of 3. You successfully get all of Ploopian's people here with the massive bows surrounded in water as she suffocates you, bows, slightly because of all this water around all your tendrils, making it to the back. But she doesn't know, but there's not that much.
I don't breathe anyway.
Yeah,
they have no
just
idea.
like in Aqua, and I'm like, come along, shape water, shape water, shape water, shape water.
It's like, but the fish people
Let's go.
The fish people see their god summoning them back into the caves. Their god who has clearly saved them from Demogorgon, while the other unfaithful fish people are destroyed outside. You safely make it away from the tendrils. It does collapse part of the caves, and about an hour or so later, between bows chatting with these fish people that you have saved, the Kuo-Toa, they lead you back to the remnants. Long after, it takes a good hour before the sounds of Lemogorgon. They're real. You know what? It's now officially Lemogorgon. Lemogorgon instead of Demogorgon. It has passed. He's away. You're led out into the darkness, which at this time, the stranger has already got something lit up, whether it's by Alex's or Remy's magic or by her own bullseye lantern. I have no idea if that survived after being in the water and all that. I'll let you decide.
Well, it's an oil lantern, so yeah.
Well, yeah, I was just thinking about the fact that a bullseye lantern has paper shades on it and whatnot. So,
I thought it was metal. I thought it was like a metal grate.
Well, you know what? We've visualized it differently. That's okay.
That's fine.
So we'll go with that, and you guys come out into the main area, and it is pretty much leveled. Those of you with dark sight can see quite a bit. Again, so can the fish people. Narada, you have the limited range of what you have, but this has been destroyed. There are fish bodies everywhere.
Huxley!
Any
human bodies?
Oh god.
You may start to search if you would like.
I'm gonna make an investigation check if that's okay.
I would, investigation will work for me. As you guys are going to move about, so we'll give you guys 10 minutes to start searching through the rubble. If each of you would make an investigation roll, we'll put this all together. And again, it'll be a group check as you all start searching the ruins.
I no longer have inspiration, by the way, because I used it for
Thanks, take a plot point for that, and I will fix that inspiration on the screen for you.
Can B.O.S.E also do a perception check? Because he is still freaked out by this Demogorgon thing, so he wants to make sure that there's like nobody who can hurt us around in the area.
So you're removing yourself from the investigation check and instead searching for things that could hurt you, correct?
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. That's fine. So
it'll be the 3 of you on your own.
Yay!
Kitty, no!
We have Kitty!
Funny.
And the screen goes
may
wild,
or may not be dead.
Look at that.
I might have
Die.
We'll get you into your own places here. I know the screen's about to change.
Oh
but...
boy. That's, Huxley's been through worse, so walk it off. So what did I miss? Somebody fill me in.
So,
You tried to get a gearbox for Remy, and the
Yeah, 'cause you're my
Demogorgon
best
maybe
friend
smushed
ever.
you.
Oh, I tried.
You're
Yeah,
my best
you're-
friend ever, so of course you'd try and help me out.
Oh, of
god,
course.
Your god, your deity, Lythander might have squished you. Possibly.
The Demogorgon destroyed the village, but we saved all of the cool fish people.
Yeah, at the last time
all of the
you
good
rolled
fish
like
people.
I think a 6 or a 7 or an 8 perception, and so you thought that the Demogorgon might have been Lathander. I think.
No, it was a natural
Yeah.
1 minus 2.
Oh, that's right. Negative.
Or minus 3 for negative 2. So Sean was like, Lythander! It was so funny because we had me rolling for you, and that's what it rolled when I clicked on your character sheet.
Oh my gosh.
Oops.
Well, welcome back.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Wow.
It's all fine, you know. If Huxley dies, we make a new cleric, a better cleric, a
A
cleric.
new
maybe-
idiot.
Oh.
A newer,
Listen.
better dummy.
Listen,
We can
listen,
rebuild
just
him.
because,
Yeah.
Just because
he'll
the
be
boy
Huxley
has a
Jr.
Junior.
Huxley had a
We'll
kid
get
he
a
didn't even know about.
better Huxley with cocaine and hookers.
Oh my god.
Huxley 2.0.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
We'll
He's
put him in a
gangsta now.
warforged body.
Yes.
You can rebuild him. Everyone comes back as warforged.
Oh God, no.
Little
That's
known
fact.
secret.
There we go. Thanks to all our viewers for giving us that moment, and welcome back, Kitty Doe. We're super stoked. We were all kind of sending our special vibes. I was praying for you, just that it would come together. Just such a joy to have here. So, did they fill you in on the fact that you stayed behind?
I think on the thing you are.
Yeah, you're
Alex's.
So obviously, am I muted? I should not be. My thing doesn't.
No,
say-
you're
you're me.
Alex.
You're me. You're on.
Oh.
You're on top of me.
Oh.
That just went. No comments from the
I
peanut
mean-
gallery.
I mean,
wow,
when
that was bad.
you wanna be cool like me, I mean, can you really blame him? I mean, I got shades and everything.
Speaking of cool like
Yeah.
Remy, Huxley,
Sure.
you were helping Nerida drag Remy away because Remy was like in full I want junks mode, and you
Yeah.
were saving his life going to the back of the cave. When Remy said I really need something and convinced Huxley to go back and get it for him, so Huxley ran back as Remy was being dragged off, and as all the fish people were going off to the caves, and Huxley started like, do you want this? Is this what you need so bad? Is this? And going through stuff, and got left outside with Demogorgon coming. As Demogorgon crashed ashore, destroying the ship. So you get the spotlight. We all want to find out what happened with
What
Huxley.
is Demogorgon?
Demogorgon is a massive, demonic, godlike entity, because this Demogorgon is actually Lemogorgon. It's the fish people's version of Demogorgon. So as far as they're concerned, this thing is massive. It has 4 legs. It's got tentacles coming out of its side instead of arms. It's got
So it's Cthulhu.
2 draconic heads that literally like argue with each other coming out as it comes ashore. So it's partially fish, partially legged. It's an evil monstrosity that some of the fish people have dreamed up. Now, your character doesn't know all that, but what you see is this thing that is, I would say, for lack of a better term, it's like the Loch Ness Monster with 2 heads and tentacles coming out of its side, and it's coming ashore, and it's roaring like a dragon. It's coming over and smashing part of what was left of the ship into the docks as it comes ashore to just wipe out the only lights it can see, which you are among this village as you're kind of back to the shore looking at this thing coming ashore going, is this what you need so bad? Is it? What would Huxley do?
Well, let's see here. He's destroying everything, but Remy still needs something.
Oh no! Don't put your death on me. Again.
Yeet!
Well, here's the thing. Did Remy specify at all what he was looking for?
He said like a
I mean, he
mechanical
tried to-
something. He kept saying no to things you held up.
I did try and help, so there was some input given.
Okay, so you're
But
looking
Huxley
for.
also wouldn't know if he picked up the wrong thing after Remy was gone, so.
Yeah, Huxley might pick up a few things and dart for it.
Okay, so as Demogorgon got closer and as Unfortunately, Remy got out of sight with everybody else. Huxley was forced with this decision to make based on what Remy was saying. Woohoo! Doherty D&D chair. Whoa, thank you, Doherty. Thank you for that. Lots of love for everybody here. Huxley, I want you, what kind of roll should you make to determine whether you get what he's looking for? Wisdom? I'm thinking a wisdom roll seems pretty good. I want to say investigation, but...
You mean intelligence?
Let's
go over to intelligence.
Let's stick with wisdom.
I was going for wisdom, but then I was thinking investigation.
Well, investigation is intelligence. That's why I asked.
And that's it. This is the real thing. I'm like, I don't really know which one works best here, but I'll tell you what. I'm going to let you as a player decide.
Oh, I think it should be investigation.
Oh, she's going for the worst. Anybody who knows this, she's got a wisdom, but her intelligence just quite ain't there. So she's definitely investigating.
Quite ain't? Oh,
don't
boy,
forget, you do have inspiration if you want to use it. And I've got to get rid of on this screen.
Sure, I'll use inspiration.
Okay, I will take that off for Huxley.
Right.
Huxley has inspiration.
Robot dog
on her
incoming.
intelligence.
Go. It
First
was beautiful.
Okay, can I add some plot points to that just real quick?
Sure, why not? I'll actually add 13 plot points and make it a dirty 20.
Oh, okay.
What?
Never mind. You got. Man, thank you, Huxley.
Huxley's just like, you know what? I got this.
I would like you to roll a 1d4 for me straight, please, Huxley.
1d4. You got it. Come on, there we go.
The sad part is going to be you holding the thing.
I got a 1.
Dead.
Oh.
That's gonna be...
Is that your final roll? It is. All right, so Huxley, you grab the stuff, the best things that you think are finally what he needs, and you hoof it for a cave. Unfortunately, parts of the ceiling were falling, and the cave they went into was blocked off, so you have to hoof it to another cave. A little while later, they emerge. I need to turn off the roll 20. Hold on one second. It's blocking me. They emerge from another cave, and you see this. It's long after that you have already come out into the remains of the village. And while they start searching the village, they find you. Where do they find you, Huxley? What were you doing?
After he grabbed the item?
Yeah, after Huxley grabbed the item, you went to the caves, you hid, Demogorgon or Lemogorgon destroyed everything, so about an hour passes, you emerge from there, you're looking for them and the remnants and whatnot, and then they emerge from their cave system, because they had to come out another way as well. They start looking through the ruins for you. Where do they find you?
They probably find me not on top of the ruins, but like looking in the shadows, like between rocks. Honestly, like definitely no place that a person would be able to fit. But you know, Huxley has seen Nerda fit in some pretty tight spaces and other things, so that makes sense, right? Like anywhere where there's shadows, she could probably be. So he's searching for her, going, Nerda, are you here? I'm okay, in case you were curious.
That's kind of a handoff to you, Nerda.
Yeah,
That's what Nerda says.
Right? Nerda just kind of pauses and listens in and is like, I think I hear him. Should we leave him?
Nerda?
We need to get him.
Okay. Over here.
Maybe he lost the thing, you know, the headband and all the destruction and
only
everything.
hope.
Nerda! Huxley runs over. I'm
Nerda
so glad
instinctively puts her arms up like, no hugs.
sorry. It's okay, my hands are full.
Okay, good.
It's so good to see you, though.
Uh-huh. Yep.
I was concerned.
Yeah.
Do you need healing?
See you. No.
No?
I don't know. Can you even do that anymore today?
No, but I could give you words of encouragement, and maybe that would help your heart.
All right.
Speaking
That's
of
adorable.
actually doing helpful things,
what are you holding?
Yes.
The thing you're looking for, Remy. I found it.
Is it the thing I'm looking
It's a piece
for?
of scrap metal.
It's just garbage.
It's like some fish bones.
Is it the thing I'm looking for?
Huxley, now that she has you close, produces the exact thing undamaged because she was only able to grab one thing. She's like, Huxley, it was bigger than you expected, so you weren't able to grab the few things that you wanted, Huxley. But you happen to have grabbed this thing with gear. Doesn't look at all like what you expected it to look like, Huxley, but Remy seems pretty excited about it. It's about medium size. There's a half dozen gears in it, and even at a glance, Remy, no perception roll whatsoever, it seems pristine. The gears in it.
Oh my goodness! Oh, this is perfect. Thank you so much, Huxley. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm so excited too.
He's gonna just like take it and like look at all the gears and everything, like play around with them in his hand.
What are you doing?
Just give me a moment, Huxley.
As he starts playing with it and looking at it, B.O.S., you're out on the shoreline. You've searched everywhere for danger, and then you realize that the remains of the ship where the dock was, you're like, you can see with your special sight for the darkness that part of the bits of the rear of the ship that are sticking up out of the water, because again, it wasn't that far off, it was only at the end of the docks, and the mast seem to have something black moving along it, the same types of black shadows amidst the darkness that make you think of what was clinging to big bows. And specifically, since you said you were looking for danger, that would probably trigger those are the same types of shades as before.
Correct. Wonderful. B.O.S, I'm assuming B.O.S is pretty far away from the group right now, seeing as that he's at the shore, or I don't know if the group followed me.
Probably snuck along with you to the shore.
Okay, wonderful. Then B.O.S is going to talk to Nerida by saying,
well, there's that ship again, but those shadows. If we're going to fight again, I'd suggest we maybe gather ourselves, because that is going to be a fight.
And I gotta cut in here really quick because Kitty Doe just subbed to us. She was gifted a sub, so
Oh my god.
there you go. You're a subber now, so thank you. Hey, jovial birthday anniversary, Spook Nasty. Go ahead. Totally went off there. Breaking the role play. Come on, you guys said you were good at improv.
I liked improv. Now that I was good at it.
Near me? B.O.S is near all of us, right? To say that.
We're a little tiny bit away.
No, he went off to investigate for danger. He's out at the shore, and she described where you found her as being still back in the village. Yeah.
Okay.
And Huxley, you get 3 plot points for just being sheer funny there with the improv stuff.
Yeah, I'm not good at math. I'm just fast at it.
Quote of the night.
Are any of the Kuo-Toa that we saved the ones that I saved from the docks? Or they? Do I know that? Or
what was the question again?
Are any of the Kuo-Toa that we saved the same ones that I saved on the docks, or are they different ones?
Oh, for 5 plot points they can be, if it's important to you.
I just was curious, like if they were sticking, because I thought we were like following them.
Then I would like you to make a perception roll to see if you can recognize them close enough to the difference, because you're not experienced with the Kuo-Toa.
Mushrooms, however, they're all just evil.
He's got the mushrooms.
That's a different story.
I got a 10.
A 10 it is. Yeah, one of them looks exactly the same. You can see by some of the cuts and whatnot. You're like, yeah, that's definitely the same fish person. You can tell because Clack, it's got big eyes that doesn't have eyelids, so it's definitely the same.
Nice.
The fact that all of them are that way means nothing, but
I'll go up to that one. Where will you live now? You going to stay here?
The Kuo-Toa fish person looks around at you, and its mouth kind of gapes a little bit, and this one's got long whiskers like a catfish on it, and it starts describing to you in its own language, trying to speak Undercommon, which, do you speak Undercommon? I didn't think so.
No,
yeah, that
don't.
was the whole problem going back and forth before. It's trying to speak to you in Undercommon, and it starts picking things up to show you as if like you would understand and trying to put them together. And pretty soon, as it stacks this miniature little hut together in front of you, either it's going to shrink down and live inside it, or it's trying to communicate that it's going to rebuild here. So you can take it however you would like. It might have magic powers to shrink, you don't know.
And it doesn't seem like any of the others like survived their own, like, that they brought this thing to kill them. Is that kind of what I get from this? Like the other grouping?
The other grouping, you're kind of walking through their fish guts right now and the little bits that are left of them. From what you can tell, the survivors are Pluplupians people.
Wow.
Most of the ones out here, yeah, they did not get worshipped, and Demogorgon didn't really appreciate them the way they thought was going to happen. It didn't end well for them.
I guess they don't have as much control over these things as they thought. And I'll start making my way towards both.
There you go.
Remy will sort of look around, be messing with his gears, and he'll look around. He'll realize it's like either just him and Huxley, or just him by himself, surrounded by fish people. And he'll sort of look up and start walking, start following a ways behind Clack, but at a much slower pace, because he's just looking down to still mess with the gears and everything. He's fitting them together and this will go here when I eventually make my that sort of thing.
As you figure it out, you realize that using this item on its own is part of something much bigger, and you'll have to make a decision at some point, because you can either hope in vain, you have no real reason to expect it, of finding whatever this went to, or you'll be able to disassemble it, take it apart, and use each part to have advantage when making your next creation. And you might be able to get anywhere from, you'll roll a d12, you'll get a minimum of 6, because we're going to cut it in. No, never mind. I don't like that. But I'll give you a roll at that time to see how many parts you get out of it, and each part will give you advantage on a creation from there. So you must decide, do I wait and find some epic thing? Possibly, or possibly not. Or do I use it for advantage on creations now? As you guys go through the ruins and Clack is finding out, the fish people are so used to rebuilding. And B.O.S.E, you've seen this before, but now that you're seeing them all walk around, and some of them are kind of going through different parts of this, and it was an entire city here of fish people, literally with various walls, and it had some towers, and it is nothing but rubble now. It's difficult even to tell where the houses or huts were. But some of them start picking up fish that they've caught, which is kind of weird. It's almost like cannibalism. It's fish people eating fish.
Weird.
Yeah. You kind of hope it's none of their young, but it's just what it is. They eat whatever. And
humans sometimes eat monkey brains.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, plot point there. There it is left. There's a plot point too.
B.O.S.E would like to talk to Plupian really quick.
On the side or with everybody else?
Just on the side.
Okay.
Just one-on-one, and just say,
do not worry. I will return one day, and I will assist you in rebuilding. There will not be a long time until I come back.
As you share this with Plupian, she goes in for one of her fish person hugs and pats you with her little fins and all around you.
And then B.O.S.E comes in with his little tendrils,
And then as you wrap her up and lift her up, Plupian gives you little fish kisses on the face and whatnot. She's really in love with you. And she holds and tells you in her own way that she's going to keep you close by keeping that necklace that she's made of you close to her. And she communicates to you by pointing to the water and whatnot, again, in your own little pigeonfish that you've got going on. She wants to know if you're going back into the water, because she's seriously confused about the big one that dove out there and the little you that you are now. And she's pointing to the rocks and asking you, if she just gives you enough rocks, will you be big again?
God, this is a tough subject. B.O.S.E is going to say pretty much,
perhaps maybe someday you will see me as I was before.
Taking full credit for being massive. But B.O.S.E doesn't point to the water again, because he will not be coming from the water next time, insinuating. So, just to manage expectations a little bit.
She her really big request right now of you is, what are your orders? Because the last time you were here, there was this battle going on between them, and she was part of this kind of like rebel resistance. And literally, you have just, not you personally, Demogorgon, has wiped out the entire other peoples, placing her in the position of the new religious leader. And she's led her people in worship to you, and so she wants to know from her God what she should be doing now, how you would like her to lead her people. And she does all this by picking up various little bits and offering them to you, and then sometimes blowing a little bubble and sticking things into the bubble, which makes it pop and whatnot. And she's like, bloop, and bloop, bloop, and whoop, 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 whoop. And she puts a couple things in her mouth to recognize that, you know, what should she take into herself on behalf of you. And it doesn't always make sense to you, but, you know, she communicates it as best she can, you know, just looking for your godly wisdom and how they should live now.
Well, here's B.O.S.e's godly wisdom. We must prepare for the next time. We must battle this creature. Bring forth as much people as you can to protect this town. For when I return, there will be war.
If her eyes could get bigger, they probably would, but instead they just kind of, she turns her head to look at you out of one eye and then turns her head to look at you out of the other eye, as if truly understanding, and then she kind of picks things up and, like, hits them together, and then, like, you know, kind of stabs herself a little bit, you know, and then she takes part of her fin and cuts it as if, like, saying, okay, they'd be willing to do this for you. And she's going to prepare the people for war on B.O.S.e's orders. All right.
Wonderful.
Oh boy.
B.O.S.e is
So I got an
creating
army now, guys. So just saying, don't mess with me.
So I may get my way to B.O.S.E by then, maybe? And
yeah.
Can I see these creatures near the boat?
Are you particularly making an investigation out, roller? Because everything just looks like debris to the average person. B.O.S.E was actually looking for something.
Okay.
Everything just looks like shadows and darkness, and, you know, the water's calm now again. An hour has passed, and it's got its inky blackness and bits of the dock sticking out, and again all the dead bodies of the Kuo-Toa floating here and there. You know, it's after a war zone. It's Hiroshima has just happened to the poor Kuo-Toa people.
B.O.S.E, there seem to be some good things on the ship. We should investigate it.
Well, this entity agrees, but there is something else on that ship. Something dark, something powerful, and I don't necessarily believe we might be ready for a fight right now.
Yeah, a thing talked to me when I was on the ship. It looked like me, but not. They're dark or something.
Shadows, perhaps. Yeah. They are what took down bigger B.O.S.E.
You should try to see what we can salvage from the ship.
That's what I say. I think, and I'll look at you again. You have a whip on your belt now, is that right?
Yep.
Maybe you have the strength to command them. You could just tell them what you want.
This was from the Durigar.
Yeah, but the whip is a big symbol for us. It means that you're in charge, like a leader.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, one day I will be king, so that was only fitting.
Start now. Be king of these ones.
Not exactly. That's my job.
I'll leave these little fish people to you, boss.
Yes, I think in the case of these Kuo-Toa, yes, it might be better to be loved rather than, and he's gesturing at B.O.S.E, and he says loved rather than feared, as he gestures at the
Isn't
whip.
it always better to be loved?
Not always.
Sometimes it is better to be feared.
Maybe if you're a Southerling. All of us disagree. All of us disagree with it. Honestly, I love that.
Alex, you have just earned an inspiration, but you have inspiration, so who do you want to roll it over to? Because you brought in your
let's give it to
background
Kitty
with
since
the
she spent
Southerland.
it. Yeah, since she spent it on getting me a cool thing. We'll give it to Kitty.
Thank you.
Huxley inspiration is on. There you go. Wow, DM spoke and it went silent. All right, I can take over from here. So
I was reading chat because something happened in chat. I'm like, wait, what just happened?
Man, too much is just going down.
We're discussing Merida's hair properties.
Apparently. Apparently.
Well, if
Right
we're
now,
not going to
it seems
investigate
that-
the ship... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was actually looking for people to talk about. So right now, while the other ones are investigating the town, we have B.O.S.E and we have Clack out near the shore. And Clack seems interested in investigating the ship. And again, we're not in any type of combat order, so you can kind of freely move about until, you know, the next evil thing will unfold. Until Remy says, tells us what the next shoe is dropping. There's more shoes than I even know.
We'll
Clack,
have to
do you
find
want to
some
swim out there? Do you have a particular way? Do you want to borrow? You can find one of the round fish people's boats and try and float your way out there if that seems like the best route. Maybe boats could just carry you out there. There is parts of the ship on the shore, little bits of wood here and there. You could just start picking up some bits of wood and whatnot.
For those who cannot swim, I suggest exploring the ships that are the pieces of the ship that are closer. I can swim out to the ones that are a bit further and a bit further down that have sunk.
Swim with you.
Can you breathe underwater?
Yes.
Huxley's
check.
intelligence being tested.
Insight check.
Yeah. Rembrandt looks up and is like, "Wait, what?
13.
Humans been able to do this all this time?"
Yes.
Okay then.
Well,
If you drown, it's not on me. I'm not your capitana.
I don't know that swimming's the problem, though, you guys. I would be worried about the shapes out on the water.
Okay, then we can take care of them now. We can shoot at
You
the
do
end and make
realize
them come to
Huxley's a
us.
boy? I'm not sure Dory D&D realizes Huxley's a guy. Oh, let me mute this.
Hey, Sean,
Yeah.
can B.O.S.E be able to identify how many figures or shadows there are on that ship?
You can try. Absolutely, you can try. It's shadows against a dark black background coming out of black water. So, yeah, go ahead and try. I mean, roll's a roll. Remember, nat 20s do not exist in checks. I mean, you can roll a nat 20, but it's not an automatic success on
I'm gonna
checks.
try to
Yeah.
put my lantern towards them to see if they'll stand out a little bit.
Got a 17 on that, by the way.
Okay.
Remy will chime in. Maybe we should all, maybe take a while before we go on our next great adventure onto the same water that a giant monster came out of. Just a thought. I don't think we've actually had a good sit down, a proper one. Just small little breaks, and so, a proper rest could do us some good. Maybe we could help the Kuo-Toa if there's any survivors buried beneath rubble. We could look for those in the meantime. The ship isn't going to go anywhere, I don't think, is it?
I'm no builder, but I could use a rest.
And also use some sleep.
I agree. Let's prepare.
Okay,
It's
I guess.
Bose, do you think you could talk to whatever that one that seems to be really intrigued with you?
Right.
Do you think you might be able to ask, for some place to stay or something like that? If there's a better part in this, I know there's not much here, but maybe there's some place that most of them are hanging out or something.
This entity can certainly find out. It most likely will probably just be rubble, but this entity will ask.
And so B.O.S.E.
What is her name again? Bloop bloop.
Bloopians.
Bloopian.
Bloopian? Okay.
I'm gonna start gathering some of the fish parts for food.
Oh no! It's just
Okay.
the lizard folk all over.
Wow.
Did I just hear that? I want to make sure I don't mishear. Are you eating the Kuo-Toa?
Well, I'm just gathering
Only the bad ones.
bodies.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's gonna eat
Well,
it later.
I just wanted to make sure I was hearing correctly, because in the meantime, you find Ploopy, and she's been guiding her people and whatnot, and priorities now about what they have to prepare for in the days ahead. She knows their rituals, and you actually have a chance to watch. They appear to be taking many of the dead people and putting stones and whatnot in them. You notice that they're loading them onto some of these fish rafts, and some of the people are already taking the dead, out into the water, past the broken ship and whatnot. And you realize this is part of how they dispose of their people. They give the fish people weight to go to the bottom of the dark lake. And whatever's there obviously disposes of them in its own time and way. So they are actually prioritizing this. And when you start bringing over dead bodies, Colton, and gathering them up, you see them start shoving stones into them and whatnot, rubble and bits.
Okay. And I'll just set it on the pile that they have.
Do you want to just take a bite of one really quick or anything? You don't.
No. It seems that they wouldn't like that much.
Now, there are little bits of fish on racks and whatnot. Remember all those fish racks and other things, so there is food about.
Okay.
I mean,
I'll try to
they're not
communicate
food.
that.
I don't want to limit.
I'll try to communicate that I trade this for that. Huh?
Oh, they're and they start slapping some fins together and whatnot. Appreciating your help, and eat up all the fish that you like. that you find.
Yeah. My teeth just open.
It's not bloody enough. He's like, it's not covering me in cow blood. But it's nice because you can also stick a couple extra fish on your porcupines if you want, your quills.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot you were a porcupine.
It's later food. Just decorate myself with rotting fish. So, Bo, as you go over and you start directing them, you see what's happening, and the others are already in cleanup mode as best they can, recognizing that the dead bodies, for them, this is part of their culture. They know what happens with the dead all the time. Their lifespan isn't that long compared to all of yours. So they deal with death all the time. And some of you get a feel for all of this happening. Now, as they go about this, when you asked about where to sleep and whatnot, you get that same idea. Some of them are kind of like taking some of the longer things that they have. Most of this was built out of reeds and whatnot from the shoreline that have been dried and cured and woven together into rope bridges, things like this. The only parts that have survived is far up high, one of their stalactites that came down, similar to the drow. They had built one of their towers over to and whatnot. And as Limu Guggen, I want to make sure I get the name right, Limu Guggen wiped out everything below. It did wipe out the towers to get to it, but it appears to have survived up top and still has some of these reed and branches sticking out from it. And there appears to be a structure up high, but it's going to take them a while to build to get up there unless you know of a way to get up high more quickly.
Well.
Rest and get them wild shapes, dog.
My spidey senses are tingling. Geez. Actually, I think I do have at least one more wild shape, so that could be a possibility. So yes, B.O.S.E is gonna convey that information that there is a tower up there, but then also saying that there might be either a wait or we could ride my spider back again. And as he looks at Remy,
I mean, it can't. It was just destroyed by a giant monster. I'm sure it can't be that dangerous. I'm sure you can handle that all by yourself. No need for you want my rope? And he sort of holds up the rope. Actually, you know what? I think this might not be as useful for climbing as we might think. He just sort of starts muttering to himself about like the intricacies of rope magic.
Well, all those in favor of a spider ride, please raise your hand.
I can help if you need it, and I'll take a big bite of a fish head, and then throw the actual fish on the ground.
That is the opposite of how you're supposed to eat. Okay, never mind.
Clack tastes exceptionally well. This was actually a fine fish that you were eating right there. It was part of one that they had just started to cure. No salt yet. But they had just added their own fish flavors to it. So, very tasty.
Nice.
Hate fish. IRL, I can't do it. I can't.
She can play a water Gadassi, but I hate fish. That's pushing yourself. I like that.
There's a joke. I'm not gonna say that joke. But so yeah. Did we identify how many shadows there were? I forget.
Oh yeah. Did we?
I rolled a 17 on that.
A 17. You can see at least 2 because you're figuring they're stretching out along the pieces. And so the answer to Neruda's question, the we, is no. You guys did not. But yes, Bose, you've got a feeling there's at least 2 sticking to the parts sticking up.
Okay. Well. Yeah, okay.
So,
yeah.
And the tower is...
Hanging from the ceiling.
Okay, so it's a separate structure.
Yep. Coming off the ceiling, it's a stalactite that's been modified.
Either we are going to rest, explore these stalactite, or we are going to explore the ship. I mean, if it is a vote, I say the ship.
Why not both?
We can do both. It would just take more time.
Are we exactly hard pressed? I mean, we don't know when that thing's going to come back, but we need to rest anyway.
I'm kind of curious about Huxley. The last thing that I heard from you was you were talking about going swimming and breathing underwater. What's Huxley doing while they've kind of all moved off to dead bodies and stalactites and conversation? What did Huxley do when they all left you? Did you go for a swim?
No, Huxley has not gone for a swim because he was only offering to go with Neruda, and she is not going for a swim. So he's mostly just following the group and listening politely.
Oh, okay. So we still have the group all together. That's what I was really getting at.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, before we go anywhere up high, we should, if there are these shadows that you are worried about, we should deal with them first. If you want to try to rest or sleep, they might interrupt, so...
Well, that's why we take watch, of course.
That is true. But also, if in Nerita's favor, if we were to possibly do this stealthily, we might have a chance at taking out these targets, and from what this entity has seen, there's only 2, perhaps.
I could shoot one.
I think if you talk with them, they're reasonable. They might follow you.
You want to try to talk to them yourself?
That wasn't quite...
I've done okay before.
Wasn't quite my experience with them, but by all means, King, you can spread your authority.
Clack, do you even know what these things are?
I think they're the ancestors of my people.
Clack, do you think most things are the ancestors of your people?
No. You're not goblin.
So you've seen goblins that look like that? And he indicates the shadows on the ship that he hasn't actually definitely seen, but he just points.
I don't know all of them. They might be different, I guess. This is true.
I haven't heard of goblins being waterfaring before either.
Really? We used to ride ships across the sea all the time.
Are gnomes a descendant of goblins?
Are gnomes?
Yes.
I don't think so.
I don't
think there's gnomes on the ships.
Well, I was just curious in general if gnomes are some sort of descendant.
What are the descendants of goblins besides you? And other goblins?
Other goblins?
Well, there's hobgoblins. There's there's a bunch of goblin kind. Anything Morgul blesses with the goblin would become goblin kin.
But definitely
so
not
I could
gnomes.
become a goblin.
Yeah, if you wanted to try hard enough, I think you could become goblin.
Don't.
By the way,
okay.
By the way, Huxley, were you serious about being able to breathe underwater? I'm still trying to.
Of course.
Hey, then
to do that.
You can either breathe underwater or breathe in water.
Well, everyone can breathe underwater.
Oh no.
No. Oh, Huxley. Oh boy. Okay. This is going to go swimmingly. Who wants to go for a swim?
I'll go.
That's why I wanted to rest before this, so Huxley can maybe heal us if things go poorly.
Yes, I think we should rest first.
All right. Set up your little camp, then I guess I'll take first watch.
I'll take second.
Third.
Wow. So, you guys are just going to do this, No shelter
there.
whatsoever. Just kind of like build a little circle ring.
I think we should go to the furthest back, where we are furthest away from the water, so we won't disturb the water.
The safest piece of rubble.
Yes, the most sturdy piece of rubble.
That's another great quote for the. We'll take the most sturdy piece of rubble we can find.
I could grab some driftwood, but I don't build nothing.
You guys quickly assemble as best you can in true adventurers fashion from your backgrounds, where some of you have just enjoyed hotels, some of you have enjoyed ships, but now you're living amongst this. The Kuo-Toa actually work to help their god because they realize B.O.S.E is setting something up with these others, these outsiders. And since B.O.S.E has always come to protect them from the Durgar, and B.O.S.E does these amazing things, of course they want to give back. Some of the debris and whatnot that they bring back, it's rocks, it's twigs, it's reeds, it's parts of houses that they drag. They set up literally part of the wall that Demogorgon knocked down that divided the city. They do all this to give you guys shelter. You have a small fire started and whatnot, which is really kind of impressive, and you're using not a cave but a dent into the wall. The reason I don't say cave is many of the caves are actually tunnels that go deeper, just like where you first found the bear and whatnot. So you guys pick something that's a dent where you can see the back of it. They give you a sheltered wall, and you are prepared for a short rest. You guys take your short rest. Let's say, in fact, advance it a little farther. For the short rest, you're undisturbed. You get all this. Life is pseudo for the next hour or two going to be normal. I want to know what your give me some intents so that I can tell how far I need to advance or not advance. What are your intents after you come out of the short rest?
Oh, we're not taking a long rest?
Oh, yeah, my hope was to try and get a long rest in.
It's too soon for a long... That's actually what I'm trying to advance to, is a long rest. So your intents are to get to the point, if I understand you all, to where you can long rest. So you guys create this shelter over time with the help of the Kuo-Toa people. You help them clean up. You dispose of some of the dead bodies. Nothing attacks you during this time. This is... the Kuo-Toa people are always active here. But it's long enough as you spend the next hours until... quote-unquote night, which is no difference, you're in the Underdark, but you're all exhausted enough to prepare for the long rest. You assign your shifts as you just described. The shifts pass uneventfully, and a long rest happens. Now, we play a little bit gritty in my game, where when you've been reduced to below your normal starting hit points, those are lingering wounds. So you never want to go that low, because the rest are part of your action economy and things like that. But for the sake of argument, because we're only level 3, you're going to be able to heal fully. As we leave, usually by the time we engage level 3 is when we start it. But, for right now, let's just go back to full hit points. You're fully restored. You have your spells back. You're getting all the benefits of a long rest. And part of the village is pseudo cleaned up, but it's only a small part. It's going to take them months to rebuild all this. And then, even after rebuilding, they're going to be preparing for war. So, what are B.O.S.E's instructions to them, and what are your instructions to one another? What is your focus as you emerge from this long rest? I'll start with B.O.S.E asking for some direction, and then I'll ask for the party. Well, actually, no, instead of putting B.O.S.E on the spot, let's just ask you all. What would you like?
Well, during my watch, I was taking first watch. I would have been keeping an eye on where those shadows were to make sure they don't come at us. But you said nothing happened, so we're good there.
Are you asking me?
Just stating that I'm keeping an eye out for them.
Okay.
I think
would have been.
Yep. Yeah, I think B.O.S.E is going to be pretty much focusing on, I guess, productiveness of the Kuo-Toa, trying to estimate, because he doesn't necessarily know how long it's going to take for them to rebuild, but kind of estimating that in his brain, okay, when are these people going to be done, and when is a good time for me to come back? And that's pretty much it.
Okay. So you want to stay all the way till they're done rebuilding?
Not necessarily. Not until they're done completely, because it's not clearly, from what it looks like, it's not going to be done anytime soon. But he's just trying to estimate, maybe I'll come back in a month or so and see what's going on.
How about for the rest of you? What are your plans right now? Is this like get out to the ship as quick as possible, or get out of here? Get out of the Underdark?
Well, for Rembrandt, during whatever part of the long rest he's sort of awake for, he'll because he does want to get something done while there's some downtime here. So he'll be tinkering with the bits of armor and metal that he was able to scavenge from the Drugar, and he'll probably be consulting the notebook a little bit, going back and forth, and hopefully, Sean willing. He may have built a small creature that somewhat resembles a dog.
How long does it usually take?
So it's very weird, the description, but it seems like long rest. It seems like taking a long rest is how long it should, because it's part of the artificer background, getting a steel defender. Okay. So I assume leveling up to level 3 was where that time was supposed to take place, but since we skipped the level 3 long rest period, I assume this would be the part.
Okay. How about for the rest of you? Plans and intents?
After our long rest?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the long rest is successful, so I want to know direction. I want to advance the story a little bit.
Scouting out that ship.
And Huxley will be going with her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Attacking that ship. Well, not attacking, but...
Clack?
Yeah, same.
So there's a real strong ship focus. B.O.S.E is on a people focus. Remmy's on a building focus. So over the next period, I'm hesitant to use the word days, but it does take hours to start off with. I'll kind of narrate this a little bit. Nerida and Huxley and Clack, what is your intent to get to the ship? What are your thoughts? How are you going to do this?
We're swimming, right?
Yeah. I'm definitely swimming. I can breathe air and water, so I'm good to I can breathe in water as water gymnastics, so I can swim as far down as I want to and not have to worry about holding my breath. However, I don't want Huxley to be following that lead. So.
Hells yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Alright, so that takes care of you, but what about Clack and what about Huxley?
Huxley's going to be following Nerida.
Oh boy.
She's a wizard. Don't worry about it. Show her the wand. Oh wait, you don't have that.
Oof.
I'm going to try to encourage us. We should talk to them first before we go out. Can you find any that are close to the shore here? I see one out there. Are they there still?
You can go try talking to them first if you want. If they try to attack you, then I will shoot them from here.
Fair enough. Okay.
The real problem for Nerida is going to be, again, that Nerida cannot see in the dark. So even spotting these will be hard. And of course, once she goes underwater, she sure as heck isn't taking a lantern with her underwater. So there's a problem of sight, line of sight. All right.
Hey, Remy, can you just put a light on Clack?
What? Huh? What?
Just light up Clack.
Well, I could see under the water. It'd be fine. I've always had a good sense about myself.
Put a light on.
Right, you can see. I can't.
Yes, so I'll go underwater.
Remy will be confused, and he'll think Nerida's talking about the very cool invention he's building. So, no, Nerida, the lights primarily are focused in the eye sockets here.
No. Okay, that's cute. No, put a light on Clack on his jacket, so when he goes out there to swim, I can see where he is at.
I don't think I really want to touch that jacket, but I can touch his sword. Or
and
something.
I'll hold out my great sword then.
That will work.
On this,
well.
if you can, then.
Yeah.
Okay. The light won't go that far, but and he sort of mutters under his breath, and he'll take a bit of metal that he was working with and just scrape a small symbol onto the part of the blade and say, sorry about this, and it'll start glowing like a blue light out 5 feet from it.
Can you do that to more than one thing at once?
Yes, about 3 is all I can manage.
Okay. I'm gonna pull out a dagger. It's like, can you light these for me, please?
Sure thing. Just a moment. I need to get proper. And he'll reach into his pack and like take out his like broken glasses. And like these, if you see here with only one arm, and he'll sort of start tinkering with. There we are, and it starts glowing greenish color.
Get off the keyboard.
Thank you.
B.O.S.E is going to notice definitely that robo dog, and he is just dumbfounded. Never seeing anything like this before, because it looks like a dog, correct?
Oh, yeah. I might have like the head of a dog going right now.
Okay.
I'm still working on it. Depends on where Sean thinks I'm at right now.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's true.
Well,
Still intrigued.
It's flexible. We're role playing. So, what do you want it to look like so far, Alex?
So yeah, it's probably like the front half of a dog, probably, with like big jowls and like bits of like Draugr, armor, like as like jagged bits that I was like, like sort of ripped off of bits and pieces, and it's just like almost like shark teeth pointed, like triangles inside the maw, and the eyes are sort of glowing this like sickly yellow color, sort of like if the Iron Giant had a dog that got run over by a monster truck.
See, what I'm imagining right now is Jimmy Neutron's Goddard.
Yes! Oh my gosh! Yes! Oh, I should name him that. But yes, that's pretty spot on.
That's awesome.
With like big round canisters for the eyes and all that jazz, yeah.
So is this thing like actually sentient now, like moving around, or is it just in the works?
The eyes flash on for a brief moment and it moves slightly, and Rembrandt's like, oh, that's not supposed to happen yet, and he like quickly like scratches over a rune. At one point it maybe tries to bite his arm, and he's like, no, and then and like removes the runes again and like tries to draw them correct this time.
Oh my goodness.
That's amazing.
B.O.S.E is definitely like, he's like,
This is fascinating. What creature is that?
Well, I think I'm gonna call him Godfrey, but most of the time they're referred to as steel defenders. It's like a familiar, if you've ever heard of one of those, except it's an actual creation, and if you see here, you can see that the arcane energy is actually an inverted rune structure that, coinciding with the type of metal, culminates into a sort of arcane conduction that interferes with the natural part of the weave around us, and then instills energy in for it to be able to function correctly. Isn't that fascinating? I wonder if your mechanisms work similarly.
Absolutely confused by everything that he just said. B.O.S.E goes,
Is it imbued with life? Does it have a soul?
The jury's still out on that one a bit. It responds to my commands, and I think he's gonna be really cool, if I do say so myself. They've known to sometimes exhibit what might be described as free will, but I mean...
Interesting. A different life form this entity is not familiar with. Will be interesting to analyze.
I feel like it's at that point when Remy... Go ahead.
If Rembrandt could find a use for the gears, because this is all he's been thinking about. This is like all he wants in the world is to build Godfrey right now. So if using the gears is like a thing he can think of using here, 100%. Even if it's just to get this thing like moving.
Me, please.
Okay, I'd like to use my inspiration for this.
Okay. Wonderful. Very nice. It would be
16.
Your idea that you receive is that why pull the gears apart and try to use them? You think there's a way that you could probably integrate them into the steel defender because you don't really have enough metal here. you have these bits and whatnot that you want to try to use. You don't even have the tools that you would normally work with that an artificer needs to hammer the metal and whatnot. And you're like, well, these gears are already meshed together. There may be a way that you think you could use them on their own, but if you're wrong, it will destroy them. Is that something you want to try to do?
If Rembrandt thinks he can do it, then he'll do it. 100%.
Okay. Speaking of percentage, would you please roll a set of percentile dice, and you may add whatever artificer bonus you get to your roll.
Okay, that'll be int +3, probably. Yeah. All right. So just what? D100 +3?
Yeah.
Is what you're asking for? Okay. Or D20 +3.
No, it's a percentile roll, so it's 100.
Okay. 103.
Oh my god!
Wow, that is something else. Oh man.
Did you want to add plot points to that?
So, as Remy is showing you this dog and talking about it, and I'm going to take a little DM insight here because there wasn't enough metal, and he's been using some of the black wood from the ship, which actually some of it had like this gold filigree that he was able to peel off and whatnot. He's like showing you this dog and whatnot, and he's got like gold around the eyes that he's tried to make for these canisters. Literally, he's talking about how it works and it's articulated here and there. When the head like opens up, the tang whips out and it's got this mechanical thing, and the rear hind legs kind of split apart and like go into this other thing. And like it starts changing shape as he's doing it and whatnot. And he's like petting the dog, and you're not sure if Remy's surprised or not or what, because you don't understand really what he's talking about. But this thing starts literally changing shape as he's like working with it and talking with it and rearranging parts of itself, so that at the end of it, he has this black dog with this lacquered wood outside, and whenever different parts of it move, it exposes gears. And Remy, the gears aren't in the same spot they were when you integrated it into it. It is literally reforming itself. Is it sentient? Well, we'll talk about that in the times to come when he starts giving it orders, but Remy, it ain't what you fully expected. It's like when you thought this was part of something larger, it is. And as you're watching it and B.O.S.E, you're talking to it, the thing goes over and starts shoveling in some of the garbage, nuzzling through it to find little bits of metal like an old broken dagger and whatnot, and eats it. So, oh yeah, this thing like, yeah. It can eat as well.
Good boy, Godfrey. Very good boy, Godfrey.
And as it does, its jaw opens up and it goes,
Could B.O.S try and do a quick like animal handling check on this thing just to see, like, experiment here?
Sure you can.
Wonderful. Okay. Here we go.
I want to ask you before you roll, what is it going to look like? What are you doing for animal handling? Then I'll narrate what happens.
Okay. So B.O.S is going to extend his vines into like the actual like forehead. Yes, forehead, like palm touch onto the forehead of this very new creature to nature, and attempt to kind of connect with it as he would usually do to any other natural creature out there.
Okay.
So he's curious if he gets a good
Says
response.
its own name. You have made a Pokemon.
And B.O.S gets a beautiful 20. What? I mean,
if I may, just I like to think that Rembrandt is good at many things, but his understanding of nature itself, not that great. So, and I think possibly, and Sean can take this whatever way he wants with the gears, because I think the gears could play a great part in this. But I think Remy's creations inherently would normally feel quite unnatural to B.O.S.
Got it.
So B.O.S reaches out, forms this palm hand, right? Goes out towards it, and this thing is like, and as he comes out, right, the palm, it doesn't seem to do anything, and the palm comes closer to the dog, and literally as it just kind of gets near the head, it goes, And then all of a sudden, like, the head snaps back to the side a little bit, which, you know, Bo's kind of used to. A natural creature, you know, might shy away a little bit. So he holds his hand in place, you know, kind of waiting a second, you know, before he reaches out to, like, let the animal if it's going to sniff it. And as the head turns around, the jaws change, open up wide, and you can actually see little bits of sharp thing, and it launches forward and makes an attack roll at your hand.
Oh, okay.
I will give you... And it gets a 23. So you just lost some of your vine bits. You take, we're just gonna say it's 2 points of damage. You've got full healing anyway. It literally snaps off part of your hand and then spits the vines on the ground, and the Godfrey turns into the gold around its eyes literally changes and looks like angry eyebrows on the Mr. Potato Head.
Rembrandt will like rush towards Godfrey and be, Godfrey, no, and he'll be looking at like the runes and everything to make sure it didn't like go rabid or something like that.
As soon as you do, the eyes turn round again, and it's just sweet as anything. It tilts its little head to the hide. The jaws close, and it just like takes on its puppy form. It's like.
B.O.S.E, I'm so sorry. It was told to defend
and it
to defend me. I didn't include any of I didn't include any of you. I'm so sorry. That won't happen again.
B.O.S.E initially offended by this, seeing as it's like his initial thoughts going through his brain. There's like, this thing is against all things nature and life. But then at the same time, he thinks about it, where yet this creature has responded rather actually as expected almost. I mean, how would I feel if something just came up to me that, you know, just started touching me, right? Actually, going back to the eyeball incident. Yeah, that's right. So, B.O.S.E initially like looking like, what the hell? But then goes back and says,
though it is an entity that is against the laws of nature, this entity must respect all forms of life. It is conflicting to think about, but if this thing is truly alive, then perhaps it should be given a chance to prove itself. Part of nature.
Well, B.O.S.E, I think you have to understand that while, you know, from your interpretation, I might be from nature, this is metal and magic. I know that might be foreign from you, but it really is quite marvelous. There's an artistic beauty in it, really, the sort of thing that you get from looking at a great thing of nature, but it also has, well, and he'll like point at a spot where he messed up, like the markings. There's small imperfections as well that, well, they show part of the master in its creation. Something that we don't always see in nature, you know?
Then perhaps this creature is no different than oneself.
It is just an automaton. I wouldn't get too poetic with it. This sort of laugh. Though you are the lore master, and he looks over at Cleric.
Maybe you're not as useless as you look.
Are we coming back from having swum now, or is this before we went out?
Separate. You guys were going out to swim. This has simultaneously happened. They're back on shore, and I'm about to roleplay all of you going out to the ship now.
Okay.
So you guys had chosen to split apart.
Go over there.
Clack, you're going with them, right? It was the three of you?
Yeah, I'm trying to stay on top and go towards like where I saw the shadows, or if B.O.S.E pointed him kind of out to me. So then my goal is to head towards them. I'm not going under the water.
So you're going to use one of the little rafts from the fish people and go out? That's fine.
Try to get to where like I saw them last, or try to find them.
Yeah, it's probably about, I don't know, maybe a few hundred feet, because it's a slow rise and it had to be deep enough for the deep ship at the other end. So it's a few hundred feet out from shore, maybe a football field at the most, but I don't think quite that far, maybe half a football field, 150 feet or so, whatever. Where you can see this sticking out of the water, the mast and the rear part of the ship. That's the most visible parts. You steer around some of the pylons which aren't particularly well built. You can see that now. They're made out of, again, dry reeds and other things, and clearly they've had some help building what was here. At some time, it doesn't appear to be made just by the fish people alone. Huxley, Nerida has dove in and swum ahead of you. What are you doing?
And she has light, right?
She does have a light source, but yours only goes, what was it, 5 feet, Remy?
It's 5 feet, yeah. But Clack also, if Clack can stay in front, because she can see Clack wherever he is, because he also has a glowing sword. So she has a reference point at least.
She does, but he'll be moving a lot slower than she's like a fish in water. She's a water ganassi, and she can swim well with good speed, and he's kind of like doing the paddle in an unfamiliar boat. I don't think you have water vehicles as a tool, do you? That you're familiar with? Yeah. So he'll be struggling.
Huxley's gonna cast light on his hand, and then he's gonna swim down after her.
Okay. So the race is on. These two, Nerida goes full dolphin. She just dives right in. She's like, oh, I can clear that distance, in just a few rounds and get to the ship. And again, the water seems somewhat peaceful right now. Again, we've already disposed of many bodies. The fish people have been going in and out. Nobody's seen Limu Guggen come back up. So it seems somewhat peaceful right now. More like what maybe their regular life is as they work back on the shores. Nerida, your 5 foot means that you're keeping close to the bottom and whatnot so that you have a reference source. You're trying to follow along close to the docks because you know it's at the end of the dock, so it gives you a good ability. It's like, all right, I'm going away from the shore, and you understand the idea of sloping, which again, if you stay close to the bottom, just keep going towards the deeper part, following this straight line. And that gives you enough advantage that you don't have to make any rolls about getting lost, because 5 feet isn't enough distance to really see anything, but it will let you scour the bottom and whatnot. There's no way to see backwards for Huxley because you're taller than 5 feet as it is. So Huxley, you're behind and doing whatnot. I'm going to focus a little bit on Nerida and keep your mystery of drowning to yourself for a moment. As Nerida gets out there towards the boat, since she can't see you anyway, other than a light. Well, actually, I take this all back because you have a standard light spell on yourself, which casts out to, what is it, like 30 feet?
10 feet.
10 feet?
I believe, so 10 feet in all directions. So total of 20 feet, I guess, but like 10 feet forward. 20-foot glowing orb behind you. They each have a 10-foot because it's 5 foot out to each side, so yeah. Nerida, you're going forward. You're not worried about Huxley. I mean, come on. You're going to need to breathe, go to the surface and whatnot. At least most people are smart enough to know that when you can't breathe, go to the surface and breathe in. You should assume that they're not dead yet. They made it this far. Nerida, you follow the pylons out. Clack, you easily see them outpacing you, which is really interesting because you're on top of the water moving this. Go ahead and make a... Yeah, I won't give you acrobatics. It's just straight dexterity check to see, because you don't have any tool ability with this to give you a bonus.
So not acrobatics or acrobatics?
Not. Just dexterity. Straight dexterity.
Oh, dex, okay.
Because you're not using your whole body in acrobatics. You're just trying to straight muscle this thing. You do pretty well, though. While Nerida gets ahead of you and the light... Huxley's light is coming up underneath you. You can see the glowing in the water. You guys get out there. You head off and veer off towards the rear of the ship, away from the docks, which might explain why, she was able to get ahead of you. But she goes straight out, comes to the bottom. Nerida, you're starting to see smashed wood, other items from the ship, part of a hull. You can see that this is a finely built ship. One of the most interesting things about it, as you see this, is there's no barnacles or anything else growing on it. While, yes, the water in here is dead, there's not even... You're used to things that you would find in freshwater. You know what grows, what life is. And there is nothing. This seems smooth. In fact, as you run it in your hands and you're used to the feel of things, it doesn't even feel slimy like any mold or moss has grown on it. So the wood itself seems particularly unusual. And you'd also know that in part of your mind, Remy was using part of this wood to help build whatever creation he was working on back on the shore.
Right. I've probably got most of my backpack left on the shore, but I probably took if it makes sense, some of my rope with me. Just tied it around my arm to bring with me to help me drag some stuff back if I found anything heavy.
Okay.
And I'll just take a couple pieces of this wood, just to compare it for Remy to study, as I'm diving along and looking for stuff. The
most interesting thing about it is you pick up the first piece of wood, is that it's far too light. This is a polished wood, and wood should be heavy. And yeah, wood floats in water, but you're also familiar with when wood gets waterlogged, which this ship shouldn't be. Should be nicely tarred and whatnot. This wood, though, almost moves like it's buoyant, like you were pushing a person around in the water. It has settled to the bottom, but almost buoyant, almost weightless.
If I kind of dig some of it up and tie a little bit of rope to it and kind of like push it towards the surface, does it go up on its own?
It moves up with your direction, but it doesn't like start floating. It does not do that. It's kind of like hovers in the water, like it is heavier than water, but it sinks slowly. Like if you dropped a normal piece of wood in the water, it's going to do one of two things depending on whether it's already water. Like it's going to sink to the bottom quickly, or it's going to float depending on if it's got enough air trapped in it. This does not. This actually kind of hovers a little bit and then just slowly starts coming down.
Okay.
So this won't overburden you dragging it with you, although some of the pieces become a problem when you swim around the wreckage of the ship. While you're doing that, Huxley comes into your view right next to you, having swum up next to you. And Huxley, what do you want to do as she's doing this? Yep.
Just hand Huxley some of the wood.
Next level
Huxley's
roleplay.
not sure what to do with the wood.
Honestly, that is exactly what I feel. I'm like, wow, this is like
Since I
amazing
can breathe
roleplay.
underwater, can I talk underwater? Since I can breathe air and water.
Trust the water, you nasty to ask that question. I am going to make a DM's call right now and say, if you can actually breathe underwater, that yes, you can produce some sounds underwater enough. It's not going to carry like normal, but I will make that call and probably contradict myself at some later point. But for today, the answer is yes.
All right, then I'm just gonna.
Something close by.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say hold this.
Holding this.
And I'm just gonna start piling some wood
Do you
up.
say that, Huxley?
Yes.
Oh no!
And
That's not good.
And here's the interesting thing: no air bubbles come out from Huxley, and you hear Huxley clearly.
That's suspicious. Nerida just kind of has this look of bewilderment on her face, and she just. Okay.
In her glowing hand, she now has some of the wood, which is incredibly light, Huxley. Huxley, I need you to make a perception roll, Huxley.
Perception.
While Huxley does that, to just chime in briefly, I put up a poll because we can do that now because we're affiliate.
Were we able to do a poll for that? Thank you.
Yeah, and so I said, is this a terrible trap? The options are yes, definitely, maybe, or Sean would never, in all caps. Sean would never is currently winning out. But I think all of these may mean the same thing.
Hey, Spook Nasty, you haven't voted yet, man. Give me a vote. I don't see a number from you. Oh, wait, yes, you did. I see it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
you voted 3. It was on a different poll. Well, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I was referring to mine. I wasn't thinking about yours.
I have twice.
I actually thought you were somebody else the first time around. I was like, oh, look. I was looking at the most recent chats.
We love you, Spook Nasty.
So, Huxley's holding this. You got this. Clack, they seem to have paused, and you've gotten to the rear edge of the ship. They are doing whatever they're doing over near the middle and whatnot. And you come to where the rear of the ship is coming out of the water. And you bump into it. And again, you're able to see in the dark as memory serves, right?
Yeah, the 90s vision of infrared.
Nice.
We're changing goblins now. They're getting old
VHS.
school. He's like, I don't want none of this stinking night vision from 5e. I want infravision. I want to see heat. Well, if you're going to go that route, you're going to screw yourself, buddy, because the infravision was heat. And everything's pretty much the same temperature here. So, but we're gonna make it red. If you want to do it red, I'll do that for you.
I'm using my great sword as my
paddle
row,
and that's lit up by the light spell of Remy, right? Mm-hmm. Sweet, buddy.
And
you get all the way there.
Do I see the shadows?
The entire ship is black. So go ahead and make a perception roll, and let's see if you can distinguish the blackness of the ship from what your friend B.O.S.E has described as a,
that'd be a -1.
Maybe.
So you're pretty sure that the shadows have chosen to hide along the edge of the water because the water has moved slightly as you paddled up to it. It's not perfectly still. And that movement indicates that that would be the most likely spot for them to hide, probably trying to get you as you step out of the boat.
Are you there, wise goblinkin?
Oh, no.
You're standing in the water, or not standing in the water, sorry, you're sitting in the boat on the edge, and one of the shadows moves in the darkness. You have the light of your sword there, and you see the shadows step out, and it's Vrockneck once more.
Oh, my.
And he says, "You look familiar. We were unsuccessful. I recognize you now. Truly, Timmins, it is good that you came back. But the captain has abandoned the ship. It's all lost."
I have a new captain for you.
A new captain?
Yeah.
What do you refer to?
They are very powerful. They're at the floor.
They're at the floor? What does that mean?
Come with me. I'll introduce you.
But to leave Zepspelian behind? No. Why would I? I love Zepspelian. I helped design this. This is the epitome of all we are and all we're offering to the world. We cannot leave Zepspelian behind. Captain Orjan would never. But he's gone now. A new captain.
Can you rise it back from the depths?
Can the night star shine in the darkness? Of course. Anything can be risen again. One need only reach down and pull it out. But Zepspelian has been split asunder. The true reality is, it is no more. And if it is no more, could the rumors of what's happening in the world be true? I thought it couldn't happen. The giants cannot best us. Goblin kind cannot fall. These are horrible dreams and nightmares. But Zepspelian has fallen. And then he looks at you again and says, "You're not Timmins. Who are you? You look familiar to me."
I'm Clack.
Clack! The captain had put you in the brig. No, I was going to see the captain. You had gotten out somehow. But you were going to help us. Has the battle gone so poorly, yet you live, and the captain is gone?
That's why I came back. The battle was always going to go poorly.
It was the giants, wasn't it? Those horrible rumors are true. Clack's like, this conversation is too far above me now. The shade continues to talk to you. And he goes, "Why are you in such a boat? Come, board the ship."
All right, I'll try to get on the ship.
As you reach out to take his, are you going to take his hand as he says, "Come"?
No, I'm just going to try to help my way up on. I guess clamber onto it.
You're able to, using your sword, you catch part of the ship, which stabilizes you, gets you out, and the raft. As you pull yourself forward, the raft floats away, and you're now aboard the ship. But the sword, other than getting a little bit wet, it's not bad. You're up on this angled part of the ship. I'd like you to make a perception roll.
Nice.
Broken.
Double nat
Even-
1.
Beautiful.
Consistent.
Beautiful. So you get up on the deck and you get towards the highest part and whatnot, and I'll tell you what, the ship may be broken in two, maybe smashed asunder, but this part of the ship seems pretty darn solid to you and whatnot. You can thump your feet on it and whatnot. Yeah, it's definitely solid.
It's a good ship.
While you work with Brockneck, I want to go back
Goblin
under the
made.
water and find out what Stranger and Kitty are doing.
Well, you asked me to make a perception check. I'm not sure what for, but I got a 19.
The wood in your hands feels cold and resonates not evil, but something particularly unnatural that is unpleasant to you, shall we say.
I think the ship is harboring
Bless you.
twisted magic.
Why you think these?
I can sense it. Perhaps my god is speaking through me.
Oh, okay. Well, I still think we should bring back some for Remy.
I don't think that would be a good idea. This could be dangerous.
Right, so he should study it, so we should know in the future.
Not all dangerous things should be brought to the surface in order to be studied.
And with no air bubbles coming out from either of them, you can hear each other talking back and forth clearly. Huxley doesn't appear to be choking on the water. You don't appear to be choking on the water. There's something completely unnatural here happening,
Yeah.
holding parts of the ship.
Sus.
And you're talking away, and I would like you both to make a perception roll with advantage.
Okay.
You sure you don't want Clack to roll for him?
You both hear,
Yeah.
because neither of you are interrupted by the bubbles that would normally be coming out of somebody's mouth, both of you are able to clearly hear a knocking
That
sound
can't be good.
echoing from the water and coming from the ship towards the rear of the ship that sticks up and out, back where Clack above you had floated to. Something is alive in the ship and knocking. And that's where we'll call it for tonight. Clack, unfortunately, you didn't hear this right beneath you because you were too busy stomping on the deck, which seems to have woken something up that is knocking back.
Oh, God.
Wow. So I forgot to turn off my dice on the screen. So that's where we're at. You have awoken something that is knocking back within the ship. What do we do?
Oh, man.
And Nerida, without having to roll, you know something else. If the sound carries to you in the water, that sound is going to carry to other things in the water too.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, let me see who we're in a raid tonight.
I was wondering if we maybe wanted to raid Samurai Jesus since he was so nice enough to stop by. He's streaming right now.
Oh, is he on? Good. That's just what I was checking
yeah.
for. Yeah, we're going to go raid Samurai Jesus. Before we do you want to say your goodbyes? We don't want to start that yet because it'll count down. Well, actually, you can start the countdown because until I click it over.
It can load. Yeah.
So let's say our goodbyes for tonight. Let's go to our closing screen here, which is not set up correctly. So, boom, 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 boom. Take it away, Nerida. She who heard the sound first.
I'm Stranger. I play Nerida. You can find me online at Deck of Queers on the Twitters, deckofqueers.com. I run a little podcast called Deck of Many Queers where we do some queer D&D all the time, a lot. I started uploading again because I remembered this week.
Woohoo!
Yay.
Call out your person.
Kitty.
Me? Alright. Hi, I'm Kitty Doe. I run a YouTube channel called Kitty Doe where I do story animations. I also want to give a special shout out to my sister who has just started a YouTube channel where she also just does D&D stuff, which I think is pretty cool. I will hand it on over to Eric.
Ooh, all right, thanks. Hey guys, So, like I said in the beginning, I am in another campaign with Sean here called Relics of War Stories. We just did our session 0 last Sunday, and I believe we'll be starting a first session this Sunday. I don't know. You can confirm with Sean. Yes?
Oh,
All
yeah.
right, cool.
Yeah, we are.
So, please tune in for that at 9 p.m. on Sunday, because this is one hell of a group, and I think it's going to be one hell of a campaign story. But other than that, I'm going to send it off to Alex.
Hey, I'm Alex. As you guys have maybe painfully become aware of during this session, I do a podcast with my siblings called Three Minds. It's currently on hiatus because my brother's wife is got a kid on the way, and my sister's getting married, so they're taking a little break to deal with that stuff. But we still have 4 amazing episodes for y'all to listen to. I might be stretching the definition of amazing a little bit there, but I like them, and I think you guys might too. I'll toss it over to Colton, who does a lot of D&D stuff.
Yeah, I've been mostly just focusing on D&D right now. I'm really enjoying doing this with you guys. Hope you're all having fun too. Yeah, I'm building up the one-shots and things like that, and been playing private games with Alex that I ruined the story, I guess, for him.
No, that was just a joke, brother.
No.
Cool.
Not even close. I wish.
Cool, and I am DM Sean, your story guide for the evening. Having a good time. We just started another stream, as we talked about, so come on in, check it out. I learned something new this week, and that was that people actually like to watch you screw around and build maps. I have no idea why, but we did that. We were screwing around on Incarnate. If you want to see a map of the world and ask questions, check it out over on our Discord. But hey, whatever table you're at, whatever you're doing, whether it's on YouTube, online, or at home, we wish you the very best game you could possibly have. Make some amazing memories and even better friendships. Happy gaming, friends, and God bless you. Let's go off and raid Samurai Jack.
Hi.
Samurai Jesus.